Hello everyone. In this video, I will show you how to implement a simple chat application using socket programming in Java. So simple chat application, what we are going to develop is that when a client and server will connect to each other, they will send message one by one. So this is the version 1. In the next tutorial, we will see the advanced version of this one. So let's see how to create chat server, a simple chat server which will provide a chat facility between two machines. Now, so first of all, we are going to import socket programming, a socket classes package, and second we need IO package, and we will create a chat server. So in this server, what we are going to do is that uh, we will define a main method, and in this main method, first of all, we need to create a server, and in order to create a server, we need to create a object of server socket class. And here we need to pass port number. So this port number actually will be assigned to our server application, and whenever a packet will come from a network to application on which the server is running, so if that packet is carrying 2000 port number, our server application receive that packet. And here we will start our server. Okay, so these two line actually create a server and it will start the server. So this server will receive a request and it will create this socket class object, and then we need to send some data. So in order to send some data, we need to create a output stream, and here we are using data output stream. So this line, we are creating a output stream on the top of raw output stream. So this output stream s.get output stream, it will return a string through which we can send our data in binary format. And if we wrap this string with the help of data output stream, so this allows us to send data in string format. So we have created a data output stream and we want to send our data. We will use method write utf, and let's say we want to send a message hello client. So this is a simple program. It will establish a connection with client and it will send a simple message to client. And in this program there are chances of exception. So let's say we are not going to handle those exceptions, so we have specified throws exception. Let's save this file, chat server.java. So now we are done with server. Let's write a client. So in client we need to import networking package, we need to import IO package, and let's make it chat client pub, and here we will define our main method. So in client side, client actually need to know two information: on which IP address server is running and what is the port number of the server. And client has to create a object of socket class. And in this class, first argument is IP address of the machine on which server is running. So for demonstration purpose, we are going to run client and server on same machine. So that's why we have given here IP address of this local host, and port number we have to specify of server. So this line will create a connection between client and server program. And now server is sending some message which is hello client to this application. So in order to receive something, we need to create data input stream class object. This line will create a input stream and how to receive a message. So we will call read utf. So this method actually will read a message whenever there will be an incoming packet from the network to this application, and it will return that string. So we are storing that string in msg variable, and let's print it on the screen, msg. And here also the checked exception, so we need to either handle it or specify as with the help of throws, and we will save it. So now both we have made our client and server both. We need to change our directory because we have saved our file on desktop. We will compile chat server. Okay, so the server program compiled, chat client. Okay, so both program compiled. So now we will run our server program first. Okay, so we have started our server program. In order to run client, we need to open one more terminal, and let's make it small. So here in this terminal, I'm going to run my client program. So when I will run my client program, client will send a connection request, and immediately after establishing connection, server will send a message hello client, which client will print on the screen. Just wait, actually we have executed the wrong program now. So we are going to send a request from the client to server. Okay, so it's done. If you can see, this program will send a message to client and it will terminate itself. And this client actually received a message hello client and it terminated itself then. Now let's say client also needs to send a message back to server. So what we have to do, we will create a data output stream object for sending message. So this data output stream will be used for sending. So here after receiving a message from the server, what it will do, it will send a message back to server that message received. And in order to receive this message, this server actually need one more object, and it need input stream object. So you need to remember that for sending output stream, for receiving input stream. Okay, so in this program, after server send a message to client, client will read it, and then client will send a message back to server. So here server has to read that message. So it is going to use same method read UTF, and then it will print that on the screen. Let's say MSG. So now we have saved our program, and we will compile it and run it again. So let's compile client program. Okay, so it's compiled, and then compile server program, and then we are starting our server. Okay, and here we will start our client. So if you can see, server has sent a message hello client to client, and client actually sent a message back to server, which message received. So now what we are going to do is that instead of sending these static messages like hello client, we will take an input from the user. So in order to take an input from the user, we need to create a buffered reader class object. Buffer reader, this stream actually wrapping input stream reader, and here system dot in. So what we are going to do is that uh, we will take a variable u string data type, and we will read a message from user. We are taking a input from the user. So this line we are taking user input, and whatever user will write, we will send that message to the client. And in chat client, we are going to do the same thing. We will create a buffered reader, input stream reader and system.in, and we will do the same thing here. Instead of sending this message received, we will read a message from the user and we will send it back. Okay, so now we are not sending any fixed message, we are taking input from the user and then we are sending it back. So if we will run this application, so first we will compile our both programs. So here client program compiled and server program, this one also compiled, and now we will run our server. Okay, so our server is started and here we will run our client. So here now server is not sending anything. Why? Because server is waiting for user input. If you see in this program, user input, so it is waiting for a user input. So when a user will give a input, it will read that line and it will send it to the client. So we are going to write some message on server. So let's say this is server, how are you? So this message is given by user, and when we press enter, this message will be sent to the client. So if you can see, a client received this message. Now after in client code, client received a message here and it has printed that message on the screen, and in this line now client is waiting for user input. So now we will write in user. So let's say here we will write this is client, nice to meet you, server, and we will press enter and this message sent to the server. So now what we have to do is that if we will write this code uh, from here onwards, if we will write this code in a while loop and we will close it, so this loop actually will be running forever, and in the client also we are going to do the same thing. Okay, now if we will run our application, so we will compile our programs, we will run the server and we will run the client. So here let's say for server is sending hi, now client will send hi, now server will send I am server, now client will send I am client. So this is a simple chat application between two machine. If we are running these program on different machine, but for demonstration we are running on the same machine. So here if you can see, there is one limitation in this chatting. The limitation is that after sending a message in client machine, client has to wait for server message. So if you can see, client has sent a message to server, now server will write and this message will be sent to client. Now client will write and this message will be sent to server. Now let's say server is not interested to send any message. So here if you try to write some message in client program, you won't be able to do that because these program actually having a single thread, and if a thread is waiting for user input, at that time that thread cannot receive a input which is coming from network. So this is a very limited uh, application with limitation one by one. Server has to write, then client has to write, then server has to write, then client has to write. So in next version what we are going to do, we are going to add multi-threading capability in this application so that these two party can do chatting at the same time. Thank you very much for watching.